the circumstances of who knows what people are going to be party. Just wanted to tell you a little bit about what we're doing and why, and introduce ourselves. Maybe a little embarrassing. We're not in order. Anyway, Lawrence, Katie, Jen, and I'll talk to you about my, I guess, sort of our bit first, sort of from my perspective, because the idea is we've come together because we're very similar in the things we're interested in with our own creativity, but we all look at things from slightly different perspectives and slightly different angles. But those work really well together, and we've kind of learned a lot from each other. And so in starting a conversation with one another, we're kind of hoping to start the conversation and keep the conversation rolling onwards. So Lawrence and I started doing some photographic walks around Trowbridge quite a long time ago now, just kind of documenting and looking and kind of getting out of the house and seeing parts of Trowbridge. I mean, I've lived here almost all of my life, and there's, you know, even I've seen spaces in Trowbridge that I've never noticed or kind of paid heed to before. So the photography kind of lent itself to that really. We started to kind of put those images together and start a conversation between the two of us about what we're looking at, what we're seeing. In the meantime, Katie and I started working together, doing the Hooli balloons at the town hall and kind of getting quite involved, and I got really interested in Katie's practice, which is sort of a lot about kind of going out into the community and doing things like that and kind of interactive projects, which wasn't necessarily something that I was used to. So we'd already started to have that kind of conversation. And then for those of you that don't know, I have Wall Street Gallery down the road, and my studio space is there, so my intention always was to turn the photographs that we were doing into my own pieces of artwork, and then kind of see where it went from there. And so it sort of evolved, it just kind of sort of happened really, but in a really lovely way, and kind of the conversation has been really interesting. So from my perspective, in terms of looking at spaces that are overlooked, I get really drawn to texture and colour and surface. And as we were doing these walks, I ended up really focusing on and finding Trowbridge Skate Park really interesting. The graffiti that was in the skate park, the marks that were in the skate park, you know, how like a little rail at the surface had dinks and dents in it. And as I was photographing and looking and thinking about these surfaces, I started to think about the people and the people in the place and who made marks, how the skateboards sort of cut into the concrete, how the skateboards cut into the fabric of the space. And, you know, who was doing the painting and what was going on. So I kind of took it upon myself to go and find Dan from TSC, who's been really cool in kind of getting to know me and talking to me about what they do. And Tom, who's been doing some of the artwork there. And you know, we kind of started this whole conversation between us about, you know, what we were all interested in. And I learned about the skate park traditions and the things that they do there and how they mark their tricks and sort of Trowbridge as a playground for them in terms of they've got names for skate spots, so they go to spaces in Trowbridge that most of us would never go to because they've got to crawl into holes and, you know, find these empty spots. So for me that was really interesting, and that was kind of what I was drawn to with them. And the idea is it sort of starts to open a conversation about somebody finding out a little bit more about a space that I've always walked past and that I've always been kind of part of and walked through and enjoyed from one perspective, but then looking at the layers between that. And so the conversation then is about finding out more about Trowbridge and more about the people in Trowbridge and the communities within that. And so we've got our shuttle, the Hangramati, which is a play on words between our names, because the idea is that we're nodding to the industry and to Trowbridge history with all of the things that we've gone with the ushers and bowlers and the woolen industries, and starting to think about Trowbridge past, present and future, and talk about the past and nod to the past and the buildings and the spaces that are kind of part of our heritage. Look at where we are now, and what is Trowbridge now, and then start a conversation about what Trowbridge is going to be in the future and who is Trowbridge, you know, where the people are the place and the place is the people. And so how that works, the shuttle will be shuttled from here to various spaces in Trowbridge. It will be a couple of spots every month. One will be just random pop-up will just turn up somewhere and see what happens. And another will be going out into a community group somewhere that have space and use space and appropriate space. And to kind of open up the conversations. Katie's really interested in storytelling and words and language, and how we can, we're interested in people telling lies about Trowbridge, we're interested in people telling stories about Trowbridge, we're interested in fairy tales, we're interested in trees, we're interested in hopes and aspirations, all sorts of things. This exhibition is designed to evolve, so over the time that it's here, the artworks may change. In going out to speak to people and gathering stories, we'll be gaining information and kind of making more artwork to respond to kind of things that we're kind of seeing and what's going on out there. So that's kind of it. If you want to add anything.
Well, some of the stories that you guys are bringing, hopefully will bring in, they're turning hopefully into maybe 3D sculptures. They may be part of the publication at the end of the exhibition. And they may also, if the museum allows it, they might be intertwined with some of the objects that are in the museum, if some of the works are actually linked to some of those. So,
we don't know what's going to happen yet. We haven't got the stories, we haven't had the conversations. That's our point. We want to have that kind of dialogue.
Well, I think Jenny came to say really. So it's all about the overlooked, isn't it? So here we are in Trowbridge, and how often do we go past a particular place and we stop looking and we stop feeling and we stop thinking. So we hope that this exhibition today just gives that bit of provocation to say, oh yes, where is that? Where does that go? Why is that like this? Are we happy with this space? Could it be better? So that's really the aim of this exhibition. I'm really trying to get people to engage with the hand of writing in this channel that we're going to wheel around and try and get some intel and some feeling, some response about the place that we live. We should care about where we live, and the place that we live in is an enriching, should be an enriching place. And in all of its facets, really, you can see some of the facets here today that have been brought in through our exploration of this project. And that's it really. So we hope that there's something that will make people, what about this and what about that and how about this? And just recording those, helping us to make Trowbridge move forward, I think, and there's enormous potential to do that.
And I think it's also about giving people who wouldn't necessarily ordinarily have a voice. It's about going to those places and spaces where people who feel that they don't have a voice and don't get listened to and don't get heard within this, the idea of the overlooked is to be able to bring that into light. So that's kind of where we're at. So great.